I talk about this often, but there is so much symbolism in Outlander all throughout, specifically with regards to patterns in locations and meanings that they have that we're not really seeing. One in particular that keeps me up at night are the caves. There are so many caves in the series, and you have to wonder, what is their relevance, their importance to the story, and are they tied to the stones and time travel in any way? Interestingly, when I started researching caves and their meaning throughout history, I found a couple things. It's repeatedly mentioned how caves are symbols of both life and death, and that they are considered sanctuaries to be entrances to another world. I don't know about you, but to me, that seems extremely relevant with regards to how caves are used to tell stories in Outlander, specifically with the representation of time travel and with regards to the ending of one life or the death of one life and the start of a new life or a new timeline. When starting down this path, we have to look at caves and stone circles and their connections, if there are any. The examples that we have been given. First, this is the list of all the known stone circle locations that we've been given throughout the series. I'll need to do a separate video on this. For purposes of this video, let's talk about the caves and their meanings. The first example we have is the Lover's Cave. And unfortunately, this is a story we only hear about in the books. Claire and Jamie discover this cave after losing faith and find the bones of two lovers that are locked in an embrace. I have theorized many times over that these bones could belong to Claire's parents, but that's a story for another time. This cave would reflect both love and death. The exact emotions that Claire and Jamie are feeling about faith in these moments with each other. The bones of the lovers in the embrace do turn out to be travelers stuck in a foreign time. Maybe stone circles were once at this location and they were trapped. I don't know. Next, we've got a Bendaway. Cave is this thing of many legends in Jamaica, all of which are about magic and death. I find this cave extremely important for several reasons. First, we see that it is marked with stone circles. However, Galus is choosing to travel through the water portal below and not through the stones. This ties in and opens up all of the theories that I have with regards to underwater portals and time travel. It also represents life because it is Bree's life being saved, death because we see Galus die, and time travel as a whole because one, you could travel through this portal, and two, the stone circles are there. Next, we have the Dunbonnet's Cave, aka Jamie's hideout. I've always viewed this cave as a representation of Jamie's acceptance of Claire being gone, letting that version of himself die, and then the rebirth of Jamie. Nothing necessarily about time travel with regards to this cave, but I found it very interesting how they had blue light streaming in to the cave. You could also view this cave as Jamie's own form of purgatory, enduring until he is reunited with Claire in death, and that's kind of beautiful. The underground portal and cave that we see in the space between Novella, where we see both Master Raymond and Calm Saint-Germain travel. We see Joni's life being spared, and we see a couple different representations of things dying. Similarly to other underground portals, this poses the question, were there stones there at one point in time and they were just taken down, and it is actually the elements in the ground and the portal underneath where they are traveling. Cave and tunnel at the water plant where Jemmy is being held. This is another one that is really interesting because we can see the portal is still there. However, the stones are no longer there. We only see the stones in flashbacks where we see Roger's father using them to travel. This tunnel is another example of underground portals with no stone markers. The Hot Spring Cave in Book 1 of Outlander. This cave always felt magical to me. And second, it definitely is a representation of love and a union of Claire and Jamie, and the death of her relationship with Frank. Not sure of the travel connection, but I do believe that that cave had magical powers. The cave with the bones of the Spanish sailor. Not much about this man, but it could be a representation of death. It could be a representation of greed. It could be a representation of time travel and another person who got lost and trapped. It does have a connection to time travel with regards to the gold being hidden there and the time travelers knowing about it, but we're not sure if there's any stone circles or connection other than that. All this to say, there is more than meets the eye when it comes to the caves, specifically with regards to what it is telling us about travel portals, specifically with regards to them not being something that we physically see with a representation of, say, a stone circle, opening up the possibility for cave portals, underwater portals, so on, so forth.